Every year Santa travels all around the world, delivering gifts to all the boys and girls who have been good year-round, as a way to reward them for their efforts. The big man with the white beard and the red coat is an absolute staple for Christmas time, and it really wouldn't be the same without him. You've seen him in TV shows, cartoons, movies, even on Coke bottles, and sometimes if you're lucky, at the mall. Yet it seems this guy is always able to evade being caught at night when he's delivering presents. I'm not sure how he does it, but he's gotta be a wizard of sorts. Between the flying reindeer, the fact that he's never seen, and considering how many cookies he could eat in one night, there's no way this guy's human. So odds are he's immune to the virus that has changed all of our lives dramatically. In fact, Dr. Anthony Fauci even explained that Santa has innate immunity to COVID, so he can still spread holiday cheer and deliver gifts in a safe manner. He won't be a super spreader, nor can he catch anything from anyone. But what if Fauci is wrong? Today on Life's Biggest Questions, we're asking, what if Santa caught COVID? Before we get into it, smash that like button or you won't get any gifts this year. As we got closer to the holiday season, and there were no signs of this thing slowing down, people started to get a little concerned with how this would affect Christmas. More specifically, many were wondering if Santa was going to be able to visit homes all over the world, as he does every year. Between the lockdown orders that some countries or cities have implemented, as well as the majority of the world asking people to maintain a distance from one another, and try to limit contact with people outside of your household, well, it seems the idea of one man going from home to home, all over the world, is the last thing we want during our pandemic. However, when speaking with USA Today, Dr. Anthony Fauci explained, I quote, "Santa is exempt from this because Santa, of all the good qualities, has a lot of good innate immunity. Santa is not going to be spreading any infections to anybody." So for those of you watching, that should give you guys some peace of mind. This question is totally hypothetical, because, as the Fauchmeister said, Santa isn't spreading anything to anyone. But it seems he may actually be wrong. I mean, kinda. Obviously when Fauci was talking about Santa, he was talking about the real deal. The guy from the North Pole that none of us have ever actually seen. But as previously mentioned, sometimes we see the mall Santas, which are just people trying to spread some holiday cheer by pretending to be the real deal. And it seems those who dress up as Santa definitely don't have the same innate immunity that the real man does. That's why there was actually a situation where Mr. and Mrs. Claus may have infected a bunch of people, which includes up to 50 children, without them even knowing they were carrying the virus. Every year in Ludowici, Georgia, the community gets together to celebrate Christmas by throwing an event which includes a parade, a tree lighting, and of course a photo opportunity with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. As is always the case, this year saw tons of locals come out, even with the pandemic, to celebrate the upcoming holidays. However, it then came to light that just days after the event, which took place on December 10th, both the actors who played Mr. and Mrs. Claus tested positive for COVID-19. To make matters worse, they interacted with an estimated 50 kids and potentially infected all of them as well. At the time of the event, the actors weren't shown any signs or symptoms of illness, so it's unclear when they were infected. However, this is a very scary situation. Even if only a handful of the kids were to get infected, they could then spread it to their entire home without even knowing. Robert Parker, chairman of the Long County Board of Commissioners, released a statement explaining, I quote, "On Thursday, December 10th, the Long County Chamber of Commerce held its annual Christmas parade in Ludowici. The event was followed by a tree lighting and an opportunity for children to visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus at the Old Well. The events were well attended and roughly 50 children had their picture taken with Santa." He then goes on to explain, I quote, "It has now been brought to the attention of the Chamber of Commerce, as well as my office, that after the event both Santa and Mrs. Claus were tested for the COVID-19 virus, and both received positive test results. They were not displaying any symptoms at the time of the event. While this is cause for concern, I feel that it is important to note that exposures happen every day as we go about our day-to-day lives, often without any knowledge. Children are in close contact with both other children and adults daily at school, rec functions, and church. Proper CDC exposure guidelines should be followed if your child was exposed. However, I do not feel this incident is cause for panic." Now it seems, if anything, this is just damage control. Regardless of how you feel about the virus, if you found out dozens of people in your community, including up to 50 kids, were exposed, I wouldn't say that this is part of our day-to-day lives. And this is a great example of what could happen if we continue with these Santa photo ops. He went on to explain that both of his children even took photos with Santa and Mrs. Claus, but they haven't shown any symptoms since the event. Parker also explained how he's known both the actors for a while, and, I quote, "I can assure everyone that they would have never knowingly done anything to place any children in danger. They have both filled these roles for many years, and bringing joy to children during the holidays is one of the most important parts of their lives." I really hope the two people wouldn't knowingly dress up as Mr. and Mrs. Claus while sick and just play it off like everything is okay. And this isn't so much about blaming or pointing a finger at anyone as it is to get a point across. As we can clearly see, if up to 50 kids were infected, who knows how much worse things would be if the real Santa was able to get infected. Now the main difference, as I previously mentioned, is no one has ever seen the real guy in the flesh. Maybe you've seen his reindeer flying in the middle of the night sky, but no one has ever gotten close enough to legitimately touch or even sit with Santa. So odds are, even if he did have COVID and he delivered gifts, all you'd really need to do is maybe disinfect your gifts under the tree before playing with them, and hope that Santa was wearing a mask when he came down your chimney. However, the very scary reality of the situation is that it's possible Santa could be infected and not know it. The same way the two actors at this Georgia party tested positive just days after the event, who knows if they caught it prior to attending or afterward. Hopefully they caught it afterward, meaning none of the kids or those attending said event were at any risk from the two of them specifically. But that's what makes this virus so scary. You can be a carrier without even knowing. Now where I do find some peace is knowing that those who are asymptomatic aren't the driving force of the spread. Meaning if Santa did test positive after Christmas but was asymptomatic, as scary as it is that he may have infected homes all over the world, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone in those homes would also get sick. Of course, it's also very possible that Santa does feel sick and decides for the first time in the history of the world that he isn't going to travel all over, delivering presents like he normally does. But I find that very hard to believe. This isn't the first pandemic that the world has seen. There was the 1918 flu, also referred to as the Spanish flu, the 1957 flu pandemic, swine flu which happened in 2009, the list goes on. And it seems Santa was able to make his trip all around the world every single year as well. So I don't see how this year, even given the pandemic, is any different. And aside from that, Fauci also claimed that Santa is pretty much immune from getting it. So there's even more reason not to worry, guys. Santa will be delivering all your PS5s this year. Just kidding, they're sold out. However, there is something else that I definitely want to highlight regarding this question. What happens if Fauci is wrong about Santa being immune? To no surprise, there are some who trust and believe everything the man says, and others who think he's completely incompetent. With all due respect, even President Trump seems to think Fauci isn't the best source to rely on for information regarding our pandemic, even though he has numerous accolades and is well respected in the scientific community. But if he were to claim that Santa can't get COVID, and then somehow, some way Santa did end up contracting it, well, what does that mean for the doc? For starters, it seems a lot of people would become less trusting of not only Fauci, but what he says and recommends we do. If he was wrong about Santa getting COVID, what else could he possibly be wrong about? This may actually lead to people all over the world having a more divided stance about how governments go about things, especially in the United States, if one of their top health officials was proven to be wrong about such an important factor. In this case, Santa being immune to COVID. Not saying Fauci would lose his job, but I think plenty of Americans would be much less likely to trust his every word. Now here's the good news. This video was a total hypothetical, so you don't need to worry about whether or not Santa is going to be spreading holiday cheer on Christmas. He'll be sure to visit each and every one of you to deliver a present or presents in a safe and COVID-free manner. And hopefully by this time next year, the pandemic is just going to be a thing of the past. We'll all be able to get back to our normal lives, seeing family and friends during the holiday season, and not have to worry about infecting one another. However, until then, ladies and gentlemen, we want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season this year. Stay safe, wash your hands, and try to do some good. Now let's wrap this one up with some comments from the video. Which vaccine is better, Pfizer versus Moderna? Lena Jonathan said, there's a Bell's palsy warning on Pfizer. I'm not taking any of that mess anytime soon. I don't know if it's so much a warning. I know 4 people out of 22,000 got Bell's palsy. And they also said that if you have any allergic reactions to food or medicine that you shouldn't take it. Now I'm not trying to get like political. I mean, it's not really political. It's scientific. 4 out of 22,000 is like 0.025% maybe. It's such a small percentage. So I would just say, you know, to each their own. You guys all make your own decisions. But it seems there's a lot of misinformation being spread around. So just maybe just doing your own research is all I'm going to say. Sean Stuckey Clark said, I'm not taking the vaccine even if it is safe. I just don't trust anything. That's valid. Hey, some people don't. Some people do. To each your own, you know. Like I don't know what to tell you guys. Do whatever you guys gotta do. Sometimes I get a flu shot, sometimes I don't get a flu shot. I'm not comparing this to the flu. I'm just saying, you know, some people get a flu shot every year. Some people have never gotten a flu shot. Everyone, you know, we're all our own humans and we all make our own decisions, and that's the beauty of living in a free country, right? Audrina Cooper Primo said, I'm not taking the first gen of any vaccine, honestly. Most take 15 to 20 years for approval. 8 months? Oh wait. Something very interesting that I saw, I think it was on Twitter. That's a very reliable source. It was like a doctor explaining the reason why they were able to come up with a COVID vaccine so quickly is because the coronavirus like, it's been around for a very long time. So they've seen different variations of it. So this specific one, like, they've already researched it for, I don't know, hundreds of years, thousands of years, I don't know how long, that when they saw this, they're like, oh, this is similar to this one, so we gotta just change a few things to make a vaccine. So that's why, you know, it didn't take 15 to 20 years, because they've already seen similar ones, just nothing specifically like this, and that's why. Anyways, guys, I've been your host, Jared Bronson. I want to wish you guys all a very, very Merry Christmas from everyone at the studio, and we'll see you guys soon.
Merry Christmas!
So just for the sake of this video, just want to say I'm wearing a Christmas sweater for you guys. Little Rip Harambe. It's Harambe. You guys remember Harambe? He's the gorilla that got killed in the Cincinnati Zoo. Anyways, it's a little big too, but the things I do for you guys, right? Every year Santa travel. Oh, I don't have to talk as loud. Forgot.
Yep.
I'm the Fauchmeister.
Oh yeah, I'm Mr. Fauchmeister. I'm Mr.
As Foucher when he said, I just want to give him all the different names that I can, you know?
Do it.
I just don't understand how they're so loud in a film studio. Like, we're not the only studio here. Dude, we're trying to film, bro. I gotta film the videos. Oh, great. All
I
right.
think someone was just lost, so that's why they're just like, eh.
Oh, they were just, okay, they were a little worried, eh? Never to get back home. Well, hey, was it Little Red Riding Hood that put down the trail of food? Who was it?
Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel, there you go. That's all the same to me. Anyways, back to Santa Claus.
Alright, from dying over here.
The whole time I see you laughing.
This could be a government whole thing. It could leave the country divided. This is your best video.
We're gonna say that the make-believe guy
Yeah.
catches something that he's not even real, so he can't catch it,
No, this
and then
is
the
me.
top doctor